Hey folks, welcome to the pre-show of Social Media News Live. Look at Ramon is already doing selfies. We are so excited for our guest today. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, we wanted to give a big shout out to one of our sponsors, Agora Pulse. They're the ones who help us do social listening, do amazing cool stuff with scheduling posts on social media. You can find out more about them at socialmedianewslive.com/Agora Pulse. But we're so excited to have our pal. And Grace Duffy is in the house with us too. Grace, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, and I'm excited to be here with the two of you. As we're getting ready for the show, I was just getting so excited. So excited about asking all our questions. So
yeah, Ramon's one of my favorite people in the whole world anyway, so I'm excited. We've got some people stopping in. We got Juan saying, hey, welcome to the show. Thank you for stopping by. This is going to be a great one. He's joining us over on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on Amazon Live. I'm going to go hit the play button on the podcast machine, and we will get started. Does that sound good with everybody?
Sounds great.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
You're right, because I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media. And speaking of social media, you see that we are going live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and just as Jeff mentioned at the top of the show, Amazon Live. And the reason why we can do that so seamlessly is because we are broadcasting through Restream, or multicasting through Restream. So it has everything you need for a professional live show and podcast right here in your browser. So check that out at socialmedianewslive.com/Restream.
Awesome. So today we are going to be joined live here today with my friend Ramon Ray, and we're going to be talking all about networking on Clubhouse and the explosive growth on social audio. But first, we mentioned already one of our sponsors. We could not do this show without our sponsor, and today's sponsor is one of them is of Ecamm. You can go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. But the cool thing is this, folks, they just rolled out a brand new release. They have got super cool stuff today that they had come up with this new update. It is the first streaming app to run native on Apple Silicon, the M1 Macs, those new Macs that came out. It gives you this new preview mode, which allows you to easily make changes while you're live without your audience seeing a thing, and then you can push it live when you're ready. Super cool. It's got enhanced support for some overlays from Stream Elements and a bunch of other places. You can now stream directly to LinkedIn Live. And it's got this interview talkback feature, which allows me to talk with my guests kind of behind the show, so I can make like secret messages to Ramon, like to tell him like you get that broccoli out of his teeth. But now also comments include favoriting and search. So many cool things, and this is even more important. If you guys would like a studio upgrade for your live streaming setup, they've got you covered, because right now they have this promotion going on where you could win an actual fully loaded studio from Ecamm. So I'm going to give you the link to enter the drawing at the end of the show, plus a secret word for a bonus of 10 entries. So make sure you stick around until the end of the show. You can win a Mac M1 Mini with an LG display, a Sony ZV-1 camera, SwitchPod tripod, that's the cool one from Pat Flynn, 2 Elgato key lights, which I use, a Stream Deck, which I use, a Shure M-V7 microphone. It could all be yours. Just stick around to the end of the show to enter to win this amazing drawing. But always, we'd love for you guys to go check our friends over on Ecamm by going to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. All right, that's all out of the way. If you don't know who my pal Ramon Ray is, you really should. He is a global keynote speaker. He's an event host, best-selling author. In fact, if you're watching over on Amazon Live, look down there on the carousel. You can get his book, and he's an incredible entrepreneur. He is amazing. He's the founder of SmartHustle.com, and he is in-demand commentator on marketing, technology, mindset, startups, and more. And we think he bought an iPad just to be on Clubhouse, but we'll make sure. So, Ramon, welcome to the show today, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Jeff and Grace, thanks for having me. It's always good to be here. I'm excited to dive in and help our community, our audience at Social Media News learn more. So thank you for having me. And I want to know, do I have permission? Can I talk about some of your sponsors in a good way real quick?
Yeah, do it.
To do that?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yes.
I just want to say that
Yes.
Agora is legit. I use Agora. I was just teaching my son about Agora. What I like about it, a lot of things are great about it. But what I like about it is the bulk publishing. I'm probably using the wrong terms, but you know what I mean. Bulk publishing, especially for those of us who do events, you can put all 579 tweets in there, spreadsheet, CSV file, and upload it and more. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Love Agora. Ecamm, clearly all the ballers are using it. I mean, I was like, oh, this is what the big boys and girls are doing, right? You know,
Right.
So Ecamm is totally legit. And Restream.io, I believe that's the name.
Yeah.
Also, I hear everybody talking about that when they want to up a level. So I just wanted to echo that. You didn't ask me to do this, but these are tools that we all know, like, and trust. And I happen to use Agora, and it is fabulous. So just wanted to give them a shout out.
So I want to do a shout out to some of our friends watching in the audience. Peg Fitzpatrick says, I totally want that setup. So Peg, you're going to have to stick around to the end of the show to enter to win that thing. And Bonnie was making fun of my commentator. She goes, it can all be yours for the price is right. So yeah.
Yes.
So thank you guys for chiming in. But we're going to be talking all about this social audio today. And we're going to talk a lot about Clubhouse because that's the big thing. But Grace, kind of break us down on some of this opening news, and then we'll bring in Ramon to talk about his thoughts and teachings on this.
Hold up. I need to know. Ramon, did you really just buy an iPad for Clubhouse?
Yeah, Grace. I mean, listen, the FOMO was getting to me. This is not only did I buy the iPad, Grace, but I paid an extra $40, $50 something for this thing. And there it is. As you can see, that's the only notification I have. I opened it up. This was live. That's just Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Most people have iPads. Am I right, Jeff and Grace? They have the whole, you can see all their other calendar. That's it. That's the only thing I use. So yeah, I mean, I kept seeing the FOMO, fear of missing out, invite. You should join. Grace, I got tired of it. And I'm like, okay, let me buy $400 iPad or no, $700, whatever it was, and bought it. So yeah, I did.
Well, if that's not a testimonial for the power of Clubhouse, I do not know what is. But hey, before we get started, because I do want to talk about, we are going to talk about how to network in Clubhouse and how different businesses are showing up in Clubhouse, because I think that's the big question. We're all social creatures, but we're also business people. You know, smart hustle. You gotta focus on the business. But I want to give kind of a lay of the land, like a foundational thing about this new hot startup space called social audio. And just ask anyone else begging for a Clubhouse invite. I think I read somewhere where it was 8 million global users as of February 2021, and it has grown since then. But they are not the only one in the space. They're the king right now, but they are not the only one. There's several other companies vying for that crown. So the first one, I think the most prominent one, is probably Twitter Spaces. We covered that with May King a few weeks ago. Well, they have recently expanded Spaces to more beta users on Android. So they are competing for that space that Clubhouse isn't in yet, which is Android users. And I know that Clubhouse says that their Android app is a few months out still. So Twitter is not sleeping on that gap, right? LinkedIn, we found out this week, it was confirmed by TechCrunch that they're also working on a social audio space, but their focus is going to be less social and more professional. Like, how are you showing up professionally, which I know is completely in your wheelhouse there, Ramon. Facebook is developing its own audio spaces, audio room. They already have Messenger Rooms, which is video and audio. So I don't think it's that big of a leap, but that is something that they are developing individually as a separate product. And then this past week, we also heard that Spotify is launching its own Clubhouse competitor. Of course, we all know Spotify has made huge investments into that pre-recorded podcast content space. And now the company is looking to host live audio conversations. And then a report by Jeremiah Ouyang from who's a web strategist, tech innovator, out there in Silicon Valley. He identified 33 different social audio startups, one of which Mark Cuban is funding, called Fireside Chat. There's Sonar, Chalk, Discord. Discord, by the way, my kids use for social audio instead of actually calling people with their phones, right? Seventh Avenue is launching one to give Black Americans an audio space to connect and share that's all their own. And then Saga is kind of tapping into the whole ancestry, I can't even think of the other names, like the whole like family memories, DNA, so that's a place about where you're preserving family memories with audio. So tell me, why has social audio blown up? Because it seems like, back in November, we're like, yeah, Clubhouse, whatever. There's a lot of naysayers. And now we've got 33 different companies funded by some big heavy hitters hitting the market. What is the draw here, Ramon?
Yeah, I'll tell you what the draw is, and before that, I'll make a prediction, if I may. May I make a prediction, Grace?
Yeah.
You can come back and
Yeah.
Okay, good. So here it goes. Here's the prediction. By the way, news is that I heard recently also that all Toyota Camrys are coming with toasters, so that you can toast and butter your toast in the Toyota Camry as well. And what I'm trying to say is that adding voice to LinkedIn and all these things, who knows how the future, but I like to put my foot in my mouth. I just don't think it's going to work. These are discrete tools, which is why Facebook bought Instagram for the best visual experience. So I believe that from what I've seen on Clubhouse, Grace, but to answer that question, is that I think the audio, it's nice that you don't have to get dressed. You don't have to wear something special. Literally, Grace, I'm still getting used to Clubhouse, and I'm thinking, what should I wear? I'm like, oh, it's Clubhouse. So I think that it's democratizing for many people, right? Our ladies like to glam and look all beautiful and pretty, right? They already are, but they want to glam themselves. So all that whole aspect, my wife included, right? I get ready to show a video in front of her. Stop, Ramon, stop. So Clubhouse gives arguably half the population a different voice, different chance. It's easy to use. And I think it's more intimate, being able to hear Mark Zuckerberg right in the mic. I heard Justin Bieber right in the mic. So it just, the drama scales down. So let me be brief. I think I'm answering the question, but as Jeff knows, I can go off on a tangent like squirrel. So Grace, you may have to clap and say, hey, Ramon, come back. But I think that's why. Audio experience, minimal prep, more intimate. You can be you can be real. And the challenge, of course, though, Grace, is that, and Jeff, is that it's synchronous. It's real time. So I think that's the challenge. But I love Clubhouse, and I think audio, I'm loving it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we have some people who are chimed in, and my friend Mia Voss says, I have an iPad that's just used for Clubhouse too, Ray. So you're not alone. You're not alone. My friend Deb Mitchell says, love Clubhouse. I know she's on it, and she has like a one she does every week, which is for social media managers. It's really cool. If you are interested in that, make sure you check out Deb's room. It's very, very cool, and she works for Agora Pulse as well. And and Jim Jonas, our friend Jim, says, Grace, Jeff, and Ramon, who could you get a better crew? That's right. Well, maybe Mark Zuckerberg
you could try.
Yeah.
But, hey, add iPad to our Amazon Live list.
That's
there,
right.
Jeff,
I have it already. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Do not you worry. If you want to pick that up, you can go down there below and click on it. But Ramon, one of the things I wanted to know your thoughts are, do you think it's something you mentioned, like you're not having to, get camera ready, that kind of thing. But do you think there's something about being quarantined and like socially distant that hit just at the right time that kind of gave this new category of social audio a boost? And now things that are opening up, do you think that will be here to stay? Because Grace mentioned this technologist that she had pulled some of that facts from, and he thinks that when we open up, it's going to like drop down maybe 30%, but then kind of steady and then kind of go up gradually. Do you worry about like any of that kind of stuff? Like it was what we needed at the time, and then after that, it's going to go away?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think that once people, I think that there will be some segmentation there. And I think, yes, it was the right tool for the right time. People are lonely, people, as it were. So it was a cool new tool. People are inside doing nothing much except making babies and, I don't know, going on Zoom calls.
Right.
But beyond that.
Not at the same time.
Yeah. I guess I kind of hold the show. Yeah. But beyond that, Jeff, I think, yes, I think there probably is going to be some drop because you have those who are working full-time jobs and we're all busy. But I think one stat that's going to stay, Jeff, is that the audience that's late in the evening, late at night, I've had rooms going to 12, going to 1, going to 11, starting at 8, 9 o'clock p.m. I think that's going to be here to stay, possibly. And it depends on who it is. But you imagine the audiences I'm seeing, Jeff, or you have what's called the ballers, that get big rooms. I don't know. We keep saying Zuckerberg, but there's more people than Zuckerberg,
right.
Whether it's Bieber or others, those are going to draw big audiences. And I think they're finding comfort, low drama. But then two, think about all the consultants who built up fan bases. Hey, for example, my name is Grace and I'm a mindset coach. All my people can join me for 3 hours to talk to me. I think, Jeff, if I had to bet, that's going to stick around because it's just easy.
Interesting. So one of the So, social audio just thrives on two things. And you mentioned it a little bit before, is that fear of missing out, but also overwhelm. At the moment, this live video, especially on Clubhouse, is very exclusive. Even Twitter Spaces is beta. Not everybody has it yet. Access a lot of times is invite only. You got to be invited to speak on stage. Conversations range from like you said, major talks by huge people like Mark Zuckerberg to, a chat with just people who like Deb Mitchell's group. It's amazing, really niche group, but she does such a great job of getting those people involved, and it's all for social media managers, and it's that small group kind of feeling to it. Mm-hmm. So there's so much content right now. There's no possible way to consume it all. Yet when you're not online, when these conversations happen, you miss it. So do you have any tips for navigating those two things when it comes to social audio, particularly Clubhouse, because that's what you've been on a lot?
Sure. Yeah, here's a few things. One, don't have your iPad next to you and you're hearing the dings go off incessantly and you want to keep, no, you're not going to get me, not going to get me. So be careful of that. I think point two, the rooms or the clubs that you follow are really good. So when I first started, I followed everything, followed everyone. That was a trap, because you can't just keep up with it. So I've now curated what are some of the rooms that I follow. Some of my favorite rooms, for example, the Likeable Business Room, Dave Kirpin, Likeable Media, you may know the name. Other rooms, the Hustlers Club or Startup Club, curating what's important to me. And then three is the people. I'm just not in a bad way to those out here who are in that, but I'm not kind of your mindset person. Let's close our eyes and breathe deep. That's just not me.
Right.
So all those people I've unfollowed because the other were sending, hey, ding, 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 Ramon, it's time for 75 hours of reflection. Well, I don't want to reflect right now. So I think who you're following, who you're not following, what rooms you're following, rooms you're not following. And then what I'm seeing happening, Jeff and Grace, is that the clubs are building programming. So going back to the Likeable Business Room or the Startup Room, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. this, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. this, and et cetera, which of course is driving attention away from what we're doing here. So there's competition for all of us for time. But I think if that's helpful, that's how I'm finding it, that, on Mondays from 9 to 11 is the Baby Shark Room. We get hundreds of people in there. Damon John's been by the room, Grant Cardone. That's the room I'm investing my time in, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a Baby Shark Room, for example. And I just can't do everything else because I got to run a business and I got to talk to Jeff and Grace.
Right. Gotcha.
Deb Mitchell here commented, Jason Groff and I do a Community Builders Power Hour on Friday mornings. Deb, thank you for joining us here today and for having this Community Builder Power Hour. And I like that she says it's an hour. There's an expectation set there.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah. Because when I hear you saying like, 2, 4, 3 in the morning, I'm just like, okay, I'm out.
Exactly. And you can hear the voices, Grace. It's like, let's say it was Grace. She's starting out at the top of the hour. Hey, everybody, welcome. By the 4th hour, Jeff, Grace is like, hi, everyone. Welcome.
I think there's a correlation between not caring how you look or maybe not having to be as fastidious and being up at 4 a.m. I'm sorry. I couldn't do this at 4 a.m. I mean, I could. We'd have to name it something else, Jeff. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
but let's talk about.
I want to say, I just want to bring up a thing Mike Jackson said. He kind of did what Ramon did. He had a certain time where he turned off notifications to stay sane, because that's true. Staying sane is important in any business. So, I just wanted to bring that up. But go ahead, Grace.
And let me just slide in one thing, Jeff, as well, to that point about staying sane. That goes back to the notifications and curating it, is that when you have too many, you'll be pinged a lot. I was being pinged on everything, so I've got smarter. Okay, I can't hear from everybody. Let me just curate and follow and what is it? The one instant notification, always notify rather, or sometimes notify, all that. Go ahead, Grace.
Oh, no, I was just going to go into our next topic, which is how businesses, we kind of already were walking that way, how businesses are using social audio. So same web strategist, Jeremiah Owang, his company is Kalido Insights, and he compiled this infographic of 20 potential business ideas, things that are either happening there already or could be happening or should be happening, 20 use cases. And I'll just go over them real quick. So advocacy, you've got your brand ambassadorship, live reviews, listening, social, the same thing we do with like social listening, we use Agora Pulse for that, right? And now you can do it with Clubhouse, influencer strategy, entertaining and engaging. We already talked about some of the entertaining things on there, right? Product innovation, employee connections, customer care, sales, and marketing. So, and I found this article. It was so random, but Pedigree used Clubhouse to get 20 dogs adopted.
That's
right.
cool.
And you got to think about that moment. It was an audio only, and they got these 20 dogs adopted, and it was through pedigree. Right. So I want to ask you, what are some of the ways businesses are showing up on social audio, particularly on Clubhouse, and what are people doing and doing really well?
Sure. And how they got the dogs adopted, by the way, Grace, I think was like this. Who wants to buy this dog? Who wants to buy this dog? Who wants to buy this dog? So I'm just telling you, Grace, that in case you didn't know, because I know all these things, I'm just teasing.
Those are so going to be clips for social media right there. Those are so going to be clips.
Was that an impression of us as dogs?
But to answer the question that you asked, that went out of my mind. Yes, how businesses are using it. Yes, how businesses are using it.
How are businesses using it? We got so distracted by the dogs, like always.
Right.
Thank you, Grace. So a few things that I'm seeing, and I'll talk about, especially my world of influencer marketing, we'll call it that. I think one, there's the brands I work with. And by the way, just yesterday, you may not have seen the announcement, but I was named as Oracle NetSuite's entrepreneur in residence. So I hope that doesn't compete with any of your sponsors. But my point being there, that's a big sponsorship deal for me. Mm-hmm. They're thinking about, in other big brands, how can we use Clubhouse? So that's one. Do we sponsor a club? Do we sponsor a room? Do we host our own event on Clubhouse? Brands are really right now on the cusp of making more and more deals to do that. That's one. I think two, for the smaller businesses, Grace and Jeff, there's big opportunities. And that's one big thing I'm seeing for that small local consultant. She's a web developer, for example. She can get her group of people in 80% service, 90% service. Hey, by the way, if I can help you, DM me for this free guide, and you guys are marketers, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's two. I think three, for the larger company, I think what I'm seeing is they have to realize, and for the consumer branded companies, I think they're getting into this like pedigree. But I think that for those that are business to business, they have to realize, as of today, Clubhouse is not for the brand, the company. Your executive has to be personally, synchronously invested into using Clubhouse. So I've seen brands get on there and their profile's not filled out. That doesn't work. You got to fill out your whole profile. It's not, I'm representing big company X. You have to be either like you all are doing today, Grace here with Restream and et cetera. So I hope that helps a bit, but I think there's so many different models, Grace. And I think that as we shake it out, I must say, it's going to be what we're seeing here like this, what we're seeing here on Facebook and other platforms. Big brand who says, hey, Jeff, Grace, I'll sponsor you, pay you X thousand a year to put together our Clubhouse room, have social media news, right, on Clubhouse room. So I think those are how we're going to see it on the big level. But then I think for the smaller companies, there's a lot of room for us to, as Seth Godin, right? One of my favorite people says, build your tribe, build your tribe.
Awesome. So I want to dive into that a little bit. Especially because I understand the big brands, because they usually have the bandwidth. They could put somebody on it like, okay, you're going to be in charge of our Clubhouse strategy. So let's talk about small businesses for a little bit. So how can somebody who is a small business, or either, I think a solopreneur might be easier for them because they're in charge of their own stuff. They can go do this. But I'm talking about like small businesses, maybe some small brick and mortar mom and pop shows. Should they be on Clubhouse, or is that... I mean, I see it for networking, but what are your thoughts on that? Like for a small business, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, unfortunately, Jeff, until you and I and Grace invent a time machine, there's only so much time we have in the day. But notwithstanding that, there's so many competing interests, right? We're experiencing it now. You know, I'm sure Jeff and Grace are thinking, should we have this show on Clubhouse? So my point being, putting the distraction question aside. But yes, I think small businesses should. And or at least they should consider it. And here's what I'm saying is, I've been on many smaller rooms, Jeff and Grace, with 10 people, 20 people, 5 people. And that's okay. You know, not every room can get hundreds, but you have that smart consultant. I was on a room, I forget her name, Sandra, I believe her name. She's a mindset coach. Usually I don't like this stuff, but she drew me in. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Clubhouse. And here we're talking about how freelancers can grow their business and get in the right mindset to get to the next level. There's 3. I was like eating it up. Her voice, what she was saying. We connected. I'd probably buy something from her. I'll probably buy $500 of coaching. So is that helpful, Jeff? Kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you build your tribe, you're consistent. Every day at 7, every week at 2. Same stuff we do on other platforms, right? But Clubhouse is just another one. And I think that there's some people who are attracted to that audio only, hand raise, let me talk. I want to follow this person's insight. And then you get your buds along. I'm on my room, right, doing my fitness training, fitness words on Clubhouse. Let me get my buddies Grace and Jeff to join me because they have followers, right? We support each other. And you game it just like we all game all these platforms. That's what I'm seeing.
Gotcha. I want to bring up some comments real quick. One, Marie says this guy is a riot. I'm assuming he's talking about Ray because yes, with your dog voices.
Yes.
But Janelle says this. And this is right on spot on topic we're talking about. She goes, "I love using Clubhouse for sharing sewing and quilting tips, instruction, and promoting our online courses and websites." Thank you for that, Janelle. That's really, really helpful. And so here's the question that I think is one of the negatives on Clubhouse. And we'll probably talk about this a little bit later. But Michael asked, you may have already covered this. I came in late. But how do I get an invitation to Clubhouse? So that's one of their big, I think, things. I mean, they're selling them on eBay. So
yeah.
How do you handle, like, if we would say, like, hey, we're going to continue this conversation with Ray after the show for an hour on Clubhouse, we lose half our audience right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's invite only. So that's what I really struggle with.
It is, but again, I think Michael said, and I think it's an interesting point. That's not their problem, Jeff, and I don't think they care if that makes sense. Meaning, I'm not in the VC world, but I'm just thinking it. FOMO, it's growing bit by bit, and I've been on the sessions with the founders of Clubhouse. I forgot the name offhand, Josh or something. I forgot his name. The two founders. But the point is that it's slow and steady growth. I heard him out of his own mouth say, "Listen, we don't have the capacity right now to develop a Google app. We just don't." Twitter, LinkedIn, and others do. So I think to the point of Michael's point, how do I get an invite?
Twitter.
I'm on the phone with Jeff and Grace. Phone, don't open up like that. That wasn't a word command. Sorry about that.
You're so high tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the invite issue is a question, but I think it's not a major problem they have to consider right now because their model is slow and steady growth to make sure we're not crashing the app. And right now, let's remember, they're a startup. They don't have unlimited funds. So I've been on sessions where apps is crashed. There's one lady there named, I forgot her name, but Sumi, let's say I forgot her name. One of the people who are on there early. She has 3-point-something million followers. When she's on there, sometimes it crashes. So the Clubhouse people, as I understand it, are still going through their own growth stage. And they have a lot of runway, I think. They have some time.
This is a great question for you, Ramon, from King James, and because he's a new user. He says, as I'm a new user to Clubhouse, I don't know where to start. How can I use my Clubhouse to promote my YouTube weekly live stream? That's a great question.
Sure. Here's a few questions I would ask, and if you don't mind, leave his face up there so I can pretend I'm talking to King. Yeah. Thank you, King James, for talking. Appreciate it. So here's what I would say, and there's a few things, but I'd love to know what you think, Grace and Jeff, too. Let's help them together real time here. So I think that, A, don't use Clubhouse to promote your YouTube weekly live stream. Don't use it for that. What's the secondary goal? Bringing together people who love cars. I don't, you want to chat more, you can. You feel what I mean, King James, where I'm going with this? So not use it to directly, I need to sell my house. No, just use it to chat with high-end people who are affluent people in Texas who earn over 10 million a year and are looking to buy their third home. Just have a chat about that. If you're providing 80% value to those people, now you've earned the right, they will come to you. So that's how I would say it, Jeff and Grace, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say, not as a direct, buy my pen. No, every night, let's get some tea and talk about calligraphy. I happen to like this pen, if you wish to look at it, but it's just calligraphy. Is that helpful?
Yes, and what I would also use is as a way to communicate with he's using it for his weekly live stream audience. I would say at the end of your live stream, say, hey, if you'd like to talk to me about what we just discussed, I'm going to be on Clubhouse for 30 minutes. Make it a time that you say, you don't have to spend all day with me, but it's going to be this amount of time from this, and we will continue this conversation. I'd love to know your questions. One, you're going to build audience and cross-promote it from there, and two, you're going to make it just, you're helping your audience, and they'll love you for that, and they'll tell their people, and they'll come watch both, and all sorts of things. So that's what I would do. Grace, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I was going to say you could run a pre-show, before and just like a little teaser and just say, hey, if you want to hear more about this, join us over here or continue talking about it. And I think it's just about building that relationship with people, and people are going to follow you because they're going to where do I find out more about King James? Like, where do I find, he was so smart. He was so funny. He was so brilliant. I loved his dog sounds, I got to know where to find this guy. Right. So
that's great. Thank you, King James, for that. That's a great.
James, if you email me, by the way, King James, I will send you a special, very small, under $12 value gift. Ramon@smarthustle.com. If you didn't capture that, somebody else email me first. But email me and let me know your King James, and I'll send you a little special gift.
So Maurice says this, and he goes, I've learned to use Clubhouse to have powerful conversations to increase my networks. Oftentimes, people follow me to other platforms where I can then gain benefits. That is, I think, it in a nutshell, Maurice. Thank you for that, because I think that's where the value of any of these social apps. So to be honest, I don't know if Clubhouse is going to be around, but I built my business on Google+. It's not around anymore. And it doesn't matter if you're connecting and building relationships and growing, and like Maurice says, they'll follow you on other platforms. I think as long as you're making those connections, that's where the power is on these social apps. So I digress. But Grace, you had a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna. My next question for Ramon here is how can influencers or brands? I mean, I know we weren't talking about, but individuals that have businesses, right? Let's just say that. How can they truly understand and perhaps measure their impact on the social audio space? I mean, I know you can see, how many people are in your room, how many people are logging in. Maybe you have a link that you can track them to the second location you're trying to get them to, or like keep them there, right? So we had an interesting comment here. It scrolled by, but she said that her business grew because of Clubhouse, and I wonder how other businesses can measure that and say my business grew because of Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think, and thank you, Bonnie, so much. I think, wow, congratulations. January was the biggest month of my entire business because of what I've been doing on Clubhouse. Awesome, Bonnie. So here's what I would say. I think that one measure as far as tactically and analytics, there are some third-party apps, I forgot the name, but that you can, that are tapping into, I guess, Clubhouse's API or whatever it is, and providing some Google-like analytics. That's just not what you're asking, but a side note. But I think really the biggest measure today is, especially for the smallest business, the small consultant, how many people are DMing you. And if you want to do some stuff that I'm sure Grace and Jeff, you guys have talked about, like the auto bots and all that, not Autobots, but that's Transformers, but bots on Instagram or something.
Roll out.
But my man, roll out. There you go. We'll watch a movie together tonight with our families. But Ramon, come back. Okay, so is that yes? How many people are DMing you on Instagram or other platforms? That's probably the biggest measure, Grace. You're the consultant, and you're selling. Going back to real estate, after your chat, after 30 days, you've done 4 chats once a week for 3 hours. And you got 20 people DMing you, hey, I heard what you said tonight. I love your help. I heard what you said tonight. Could you send me your free report? That's the measure right there, especially for us smaller companies. And then how many people are following you? If you're producing good content, people click that button, as they say, punch in my face and follow me. So that's another measure. But I think right now, until Clubhouse evolves with other tools, as they will, Grace, I think they said direct messaging is coming out soon. But for now, people are going to go to Instagram. They're going to DM you. And you're getting a client. My guess is that's what the other person who was on there, what she's doing, providing great value. People are going to find you.
Awesome.
So my next question is, how can brands use social audio such as Clubhouse as a listening tool to connect with their customer needs? So, for instance, at Restream, we have 24/7 live human being, like a live human being is responding to you, but we have things like chat, we have social media, without there being a way to record. I mean, I know there's a way to record, but not a clean, honest way to record things. And there isn't like a document, something written that you can parse like you can in social media, or a chat feature, or the chat bot, or the Autobot, or the Transformers you're using. How can you use this social audio technology for customer care?
Yeah, I think it's great question. I think that I'll answer it 2 ways, because I heard 2 slightly different maybe angles of the question. But I think one way is, I think that having a consistent regular room, like you all are doing, is not a room, but the similar principle that Restream is doing, having a consistent regular room. And actually, I think it's Rohan, the founder of Clubhouse. They're on there, every week for X number of hours. You can't help but get feedback. Imagine I'm the head of, again, this Red Cup company, right? I'm on the head of that company. Every week I'm there. I get complaints. I get questions. You can't reach everybody, but in that forum alone, you are going to get response, and your customers are going to see. So, Grace, I think it's as simple as that. Just showing up every Saturday morning from 10 to 12. We're going to be here. Jim McCann, I was on something with him in one of the likable rooms. Jim McCann of 1-800-Flowers, the chairman and co-founder. He was saying how they bought Wolferman's Bakery. They make some of the best baskets and stuff like this. They have a show they're going to be doing every Saturday to talk about food or something like that. My point being, that's, I think, the best way that brands can listen to their customer needs, by showing up on a regular basis and knowing we're here. Now, for support, that can be a similar way, Grace, but instead of saying we're listening and getting your feedback, here's a room we're doing on Clubhouse, audio only, ask a question. It may be a little harder, especially for tech companies, because you may want to show things, but part of support, Grace, I think you'll agree, is listening. That's part of they want to know that, oh, Grace from Social Media News, she's live. I can actually talk to her and she can talk to me. That sometimes reduces some of the threat and some of the angst right there.
So, you know who does a great job of listening to their customers? Well, it is Ecamm. By the way, you can find out more about them. They sponsor the show at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. By the way, they are doing this incredible giveaway. Now, I'm going to tease it again. You can win this fully loaded studio, which has got all the stuff you make an awesome live stream. It's got a Mac, it's got a display, 2 key lights, Stream Deck, all this stuff. I'm going to give you guys the link at the end of the show to enter to win this, and a secret word that will give you 10 extra entries. So you want to stick around to the end. I know you want to do it now, but I'm going to make you wait. But it's very, very cool. So, and the other cool thing about Ecamm is they integrate really, really well. And this is how we're going live everywhere, even Amazon Live, by using Restream. And you can find out more about that at socialmedianewslive.com/Restream. So make sure you guys go check them out. So we're now coming to the main thing, and when we had this topic that Grace and I picked, I knew I had to get Ramon on because he is like a networking genius, and I look up to him very, very much. So one of the things, network on social audio, Ramon, and like I said, you're a networking pro, so I really value your advice, but how do you bring yourself forward in Clubhouse? Or this could apply to any of the, whatever one wins, or if Twitter Spaces is popular, whatever it is. But how can you bring yourself forward in a way that is not spammy? Because we've all heard those on Clubhouse before. Where you're like, ugh, this guy needs to stop talking. But how do you network on social audio regardless of that platform? So what are some of your networking tips?
Sure. Some things that I found, and again, I'm the way I am, but I think 2 or 3 things that I found is very important. 1, provide intense value. The person who's dropping nuggets of value is the one that people will listen to most. That's 1. 2, clarity of voice. So just kind of saying, I've been on some, you can't understand what the person's saying, whether it's an audio issue or their voice. So for those who have a speech impediment or something, listen, got that. But as clear as you can. My name is Ramon Ray. I'm on Social Media News Live. You know your name already, but be careful. So that's 1. 2 is clarity. And I think 3, try not to talk too much. Some people, like Jeff, asked me what I ate for breakfast today. Just ask me, Jeff.
What'd you have for breakfast today, Ramon?
Well, Jeff, when I was growing up, it was in Minnesota. No, I think it was in Maine. No, could have been New York. It was interesting how we were going all over. And my dad had a Ford. No, I could go on with this, Jeff. But my point is, some people just go on, Jeff. And it's like 3, 4, 5 minutes on Clubhouse is a long time. So those 3 things is what I'd say. Be succinct, be very clear, drop intense value, and slide in gently. Hey, if I can be of service to you, feel free to follow me on IG. Something like that, as simple as, in your bio, Jeff, fill out that bio. Make it enticing, make it delicious, and have ways people to contact you. You do those 5 things, and you show up consistently, you will grow your platform, you'll get clients, guaranteed.
That's awesome. So I wanted to ask this question because, like, I go to Clubhouse and I check out some stuff, and there's like the millionaire's breakfast room, and I'm like, I want to have like the guy trying to get 2 kids from college, and kind of middle-aged and like that kind of, off-brand cereal room. That's what I want.
That's right.
So what should you do? What are some steps if you want to create your own room? I mean, it's kind of, you dip your toe in on Clubhouse and you go listen to other people, but what if you want to take that next step as a business and like do your own room? What are some advice that you would give? Like even titling, I mean, how do you entice people to your room? How do you promote it? Those kind of things.
Sure. It is very hard to do that on Clubhouse, in my opinion, I think, to start your room new, because this is what we're doing here. Jeff and Grace already have a following, already are known, blah, blah, blah. So the platform is really irrelevant because people already know you and you have an email list or other platforms. So I think to do it from scratch, it's tough, Jeff. That's 1. It's doable, but that's just kind of the personal branding, community building 101, which I can get into. That's 1. 2, though, is also the aspect of, I think that if you're starting from scratch, join an existing club. There's a number of existing clubs already out there that if you gamify it, not gamify is the wrong word, get to know the people, get to know the club moderators, get friendly with other people, ride their coattails, which is kind of the principle, right? We all do. Social media 101. Oh, Grace is a baller. She has a lot of followers. I'm just starting out. Let me add value to Grace. Let me clean her car. Let me take her dog for a walk. Let me carry her groceries. Oh, Ramon? Okay. Why don't you join me on my Clubhouse, oh, great. And then I'm saying it teasing, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You're networking with other people. So you may have to interpret my English, Jeff, for your people. Like, what is he saying? But that's two. So join existing rooms and connect directly with people, add value to them. So I think if you're starting out and you want to go fast, that's really the way to do it. And I must say, I'm doing that myself in some rooms. There's rooms on personal branding and other things like this. Oh, they're doing it already. So I have a choice, Jeff. I already have, as you know, my own properties, right? SmartHustle.com. I'm already doing them. But on Clubhouse, I'm deciding, should I start new? And I think for me, Ramon Ray, who's been doing this for a while, I'm probably not going to start new. Like I mentioned, the Baby Shark Room. That's where I'm putting my time at. Mondays, evenings, I'm there. Why should I do my own pitch contest when somebody's already doing it? Let me add value to them. So I hope that was helpful or made a little bit of sense, Jeff.
I think so. And I think that like for you, it makes sense for like, if you were on a show like this, like at the end of it going, hey, I'm going to be on Clubhouse. That way that you could start your own room easily because it's more of a continuation. You're not trying to do a weekly thing, but that might make sense as well. So Deb has a great comment for it because she's been doing it for a while. She goes, test your room titles, which is a great point. Yes. Yeah. Very good, Deb. Thank you.
And that's a room title right there. Test room. I like that, Deb. Go ahead, Grace.
Ramon, I'm really glad you clarified what the Baby Shark Room was, that it's like Shark Tank Baby Shark, because I thought it was like the song Baby Shark. And
everybody's in there singing. Yeah.
I was just like, you have some very interesting interests, but tie that back into your business. How is that part of the hustle, right?
Yes, it is. They do play the room. But I must say, to that point, Grace, they gamify pretty well. If I can take 10 seconds, I'll just say, on Clubhouse, they have music, they have a moderator. Hey, everybody, so we're in the Baby Shark Room. Do. When you hear the ding, give your pitch. You have 75 seconds. After 75 seconds, we're going to hear bubbles. Bloop, 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 bloop. Begin to stop. So it's a show that they're doing pretty good. You know, it's the audio version of using the tools we use in video. So
that's really cool. Yeah. Very awesome.
I was just telling Jeff this story. I'll make it real short, but I heard about this Clubhouse room that was just a singing contest, right? And so this woman, says it's her turn to sing, and they say, she chooses I Will Always Love You. And so they say it better be the Dolly Parton version, not the Whitney Houston version, because no one can do that as well as Whitney. So you got, and so she gets to the part, and then they're like, oh, she's out. And then this random person comes in and says, no. She was about to get to the emotional crescendo. Let her finish. And of course, they're like, oh, they let her finish, right? And so she does fantastic. And it turns out that random voice was the CEO of a tech company. And it was just like, that is the most random story I've ever heard. And that's probably one of like about 400 random stories I've heard from Clubhouse. So
That's right. And I don't, Grace, to your point, I'm sure the other people are out there, but what I think this is the beautiful thing about Clubhouse, and it could be about the other platforms too, but Clubhouse is the first mover advantage. MC Hammer, Justin Bieber, Hadish or whatever. I'm not into pop culture a lot, but all these famous people that all of us have seen on the cover of People magazine, they're there talking about the consumer side. So that's the one, just if you get the metaphor I'm trying to give, MC Hammer may be a bit skittish being on video, my rights, where is it taped and all this, but Clubhouse, I'll sit back in my living room and chat with y'all for a bit.
Right.
That's the beauty of it.
Very cool.
MC Hammer is quite the tech entrepreneur, though, I have to say. His post-career has been amazing. But speaking of which, there is a whole cottage industry that has emerged from this social audio. For instance, there's a company, this Social Chefs actually tweeted this out, called clubmarket.io, and they've launched a sponsorship marketplace to help with room branding, shout outs, and thought leadership. Just a few weeks ago, Gizmodo wrote an article about Clubhouse creating an accelerator program for influencers. Now, this is interesting. They have promised these influencers income. So I think it was like $5,000 a month if you don't get a brand deal and you're just signed with them, right? Gear, they've offered gear like iPads, AirPods, like the list goes on, right? And then they've guaranteed brand deals. Now, we work with a ton of influencers at Restream, but it's really, when we look at someone to work with, we look at their YouTube, we look at their Facebook presence, we look at, there's a lot of other places, but with content not being recorded, or you don't have a profile per se, how do you connect with these thought leaders, these influencers in this accelerator program? How are they finding brands, and how are brands finding them outside of this program?
Yeah, it's tough. And I think that part of it, though, is unfortunately, Grace, at this time, there's no clear searchable index. You just have to be in there. And what it is, Clubhouse is a bit of clicking. You're looking at people who are on Clubhouse from May to December. those are all going to be people who are ballers and have high profile counts. So I think that's really where it's starting, is that who are the people who are kind of they call it the OGs, original gangsters, I think is what it really means, but OGs of Clubhouse. That's where this little circle, this little club, it's similar, Gracie. I could be wrong, but us in the social world, right? There's a cabal of 10,000 of us, and I'm not in that cabal per se, but meaning, who are on the first iterations of Twitter, or what was the one that, or a Periscope. We're in that club of knowing these tools, the founders, we know the stars. Clubhouse is really the same. People who are on there first, have big followings, and this is where brands are flocking to, because I must say, for the brand, it is a numbers game. Hi, my name is Ramon. I'm an influencer. I have 10 followers. Could restream? Well, thank you, Ramon. That's nice, but yeah, we need about 10,000, 20,000. It's not quite that crass, but there's dollars have to flow. So Clubhouse is no different. Hey, we got 10,000, 20,000 followers. You have a good voice. You're attracting people. There's ways. And I think what I'm hearing is that, and I need to learn more about this too, but I think that I can see some sponsors, Grace, sponsoring moderators who are asked, since they have large followings, to host other rooms and bring that sponsor with them, etc. So since it's new, there's many ways to do it. Many ways to do it for sure. So
there is, like Grace mentioned, there's a cottage industry, and that the first thing that I saw were people who were paid, and I think even Sue B. Zimmerman did this for some of her Clubhouse stuff, over on doing some LinkedIn stuff, but they hire one of those people that you mentioned that have these huge followings, and those people moderate the rooms, bring people up on stage, and that way, like Ramon would come on, and all he has to do is talk, somebody else is managing it. It's like me doing live producing for like Guy Kawasaki. He just shows up. And there is a market for that kind of stuff. So it's strange to me, but it's also, I think it's genius for these people who come up with these entrepreneurial ideas and capitalize on this platform. More power to them, Jeff, that they're doing. Yeah.
And I think, Jeff, what's interesting, tell me if you think there's the same correlation. Let's say you and Guy Kawasaki, where you're hired for your talent and production, it has a lot more technical aspect to it. This new crop as today are just a follower account. You got to be well-spoken and know how to do it. But, it's like they're measuring you. Let's say, man, can this guy put all this stuff together, produce a show? I just want to show up. This person on Clubhouse, she got 50,000, 100,000 followers. Right. She can speak well. That's her asset.
Yeah, because she's bringing those people, because she announces the show that goes to all her followers. And so there's that top of the funnel thing that comes in. So why not monetize it? I think that's smart that they're doing that. So I just think it's very interesting how this has how long, this has only been for how many months? It's less than a year. Yeah.
Or about a year now, something like that.
Yeah, it was when a super tight beta and they've opened it up. So what do you think of this? And this is my friend Scott, who's always kind of contrarian, and I always like to bring his content. Scott Ayers from Agora Pulse. He goes, Clubhouse will lose its cool factor now that all the creepy uncles of social media are adding audio chat, Facebook, Twitter, etc. What do you think about that? Will it lose its cool factor, or will it stay the premium version of something like Instagram's still where you go to look at pretty images? That kind of thing.
I was going to say, I know Scott, he's the orange man, but I have to be careful because we can get political on that. So I didn't mean it that way, Scott. But anyways, inside baseball joke. But yeah, Scott, so let's have a battle. Scott will lose a cool factor. Maybe Scott. But my bet is I think Scott will reign, and or they'll be bought very soon by a bigger company that doesn't yet have a social play. That's my bet. But again, Scott will probably win the bet because he's more into this. But I think, yes, Scott, Clubhouse is first mover advantage. It has all the influencers are on it already, right? The people, not all, but you think of people who are seeing it, they're on it. So, I think, and I'm on it. So, and I bought an iPad just to be on it. So they can't lose Scott. Those are a few things I would say.
Right. Scott goes orange man, but not that one anyway. Oh gosh, Scott. So here's the thing, and I want to push back a little bit on something you said at the beginning of the show, because we talked about LinkedIn is coming on that. So I actually thought it would have been genius if LinkedIn would have bought Clubhouse. Now they're worth like $1 billion, so that probably isn't going to happen from Microsoft. I just thought Clubhouse, because there's so much, and the most the big players on it seem to be these business people, and there's a huge business aspect. And you kind of when heard LinkedIn, you kind of went, maybe not. Why is that? Because I think it'd be an amazing place to have social audio, because I think LinkedIn Live to me is amazing. I love being able to watch really focused videos, and we do really well over there. Why did you kind of go LinkedIn audio?
Yeah. And again, who knows the future? So always caging my bet. But here's, I guess, when I think of LinkedIn, Jeff, as it is right now, LinkedIn's the premium tool for connectivity. That's what we're arranging. Connectivity, who follows who, DMing you, etc. LinkedIn Live, yes, it's LinkedIn Live, but it's still to that connected of people, and it has the archive. I guess it's interesting to see, maybe LinkedIn could buy Clubhouse, but I guess LinkedIn having audio in a real-time communication, it just doesn't have a feeling for what we use LinkedIn for. LinkedIn doesn't just have my kids on it. They're not there, but it has serious business people, even large companies, right? Or they're even, except for maybe the Fortune 50, pretty much even any executive has an active LinkedIn account. So that's why I said when I went, Clubhouse still seems to me the game, the toy in a good way for a different type of people. That real timeness, that audio, the global head of whatever is not going to be there unless their team puts them on there. Is that, maybe I'm saying it convoluted, but it just seems like it's not a perfect fit. That's just me.
So would you say that if Clubhouse ever gave you the ability to download that audio thing, it would lose its appeal?
No, I think that could be an asset. There's a lot of privacy, and they have to catch how it's done, and they have to have the disclosures. But I think that's where it has to go. Yeah, to archive it. I was just on a call with the founder of Zapier, and I said, "Hey, do you guys have any hooks into Clubhouse yet?" He kind of smiled and said, "When they open their API." So
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's, I guess, what's going to happen. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do think that, who knows? But I think that audio is just very special. How it's done right now, that real-time, this communication. So I think you have to be careful, right? If you have the coffee shop, come in, sit down, and we serve you. Right. That's not it any more than it's McDonald's. So I guess that's what we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. So Deb Mitchell goes, love this conversation. Off to start a Clubhouse room. So I'll be joining you there in a bit, Deb. But before we go, I wanted to make sure that Ramon has the chance to tell everybody where they can find out more about his awesome stuff. If you can't tell, he's a little shy and it's hard to pull him out of his shell a little bit. But once you get to know him, he's really a cool guy. No, but Ramon, really seriously, where can people find you?
Thank you so much, Evan. First, Jeff and Grace, thanks for having me here. You all do a great job and a great show, and I really, really appreciate it. Best place, listen, if I can serve anyone listening, we inspire and educate small business owners. Just take us out at smarthustle.com. And I think it was King James, I owe you a book. If you email me, Ramon@smarthustle.com. Well, I didn't say I gave it away, but I'll send you something special, King James. But everybody else, smarthustle.com. That's the best place to find me. If I can help and serve you, check it out.
Awesome. And as always, we thank you guys so much for, I almost forgot. We got to give you guys where you can go register to win this from our pals over at Ecamm. And let me pull up that link for you guys that you can actually go to the giveaway. This is where you would go to register to win a chance for this amazing studio. So go to ecamm.tv/giveaway. That's all lowercase, all smashed together. ecamm.tv/giveaway. That's where you go to enter to win this fully loaded studio. You can actually, you have the chance all the way up until, I believe, Wednesday of next week. And on Thursday, they're going to announce who won the studio. And here is the secret word for you guys to enter to get 10 extra drawings. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where was it? Oh, secret word is here. Ecamm Fam. That's the word you want to use. Ecamm Fam to win those 10 extra drawings that you can enter for this awesome fully loaded studio. I wish I could register for it, but I can't.
And for our podcast listeners, that's Ecamm, ECAMM FAM, Ecamm Fam. That is the special code. You get 10 extra, right, Jeff? Yep. 10 extra entries.
10 extra entries at this this address, ecamm.tv/giveaway. So I can't wait to see who won. But thank you so much, Ramon, for being here. Grace, where can we find out more about you and all the stuff that you're doing for Restream?
You can find us over on all the Restream channels, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we actually host a whole series of shows on our channels. Scott Ayers actually does one on Monday mornings called Live Streaming Labs, and we have a bunch of fun, really, really fun guests. So join us over there and catch more live video tips from the pros.
Yes, as always. And thank you guys so much for being such a great audience, the great questions. By the way, if you'd like to connect with us, one of the best ways is to text me at 903-287-9088. You can, that way we skip all this algorithm stuff. We can communicate directly. You can find out when the next show is. So make sure to go to 903-287-9088 and connect with us. We are also a podcast. So make sure you go to your favorite podcast player, do a search for Social Media News Live, give us a rating and review. We would love to have you guys share that out and learn more about us. And also, our next show is on Friday, April 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And you can find us, as always, on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Amazon Live. Thanks, Ramon, so much for being here today.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Grace.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
And we're clear from the podcast. We're still live, though, Ramon. Thank you so much, my friend. This was great. Great questions.
You guys, a great interview and great team together. And I can't wait to the expansion of Social Media News Live. Really, I hope we can syndicate and take it later. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Mike Jackson. Thank you so much. But I hope we can expand it more to the world. Thank you, Jim. Jim hung on for the whole thing. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So we'll let Ramon go because I know he's got to go jump on Clubhouse with his iPad right now. And
see you later. Thank you so much.
Did you see all those notifications? He has to get back to them.
I know. He's got to go do it. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye now.